नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजं शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगविद्यार्नगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं ध्याये नित्यं महेशं रजनिनिभं चारुचन्द्रावतंसं रत्नाकल्पोज्ज्वलाङ्गं परशुमृगवरां भीतिहस्तं प्रसन्नं पद्मासीनं समन्तात् स्तुतमर्गणे व्याघ्रकृत्यं वसानं विश्वाद्यं विश्वबीजं निखिलभयहरं पञ्चवक्त्रं त्रिनेत्रं गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे मुरली मनोहर गाइए रे माही मेरा के नाल प्रभु गाइए प्रभु गाइए रे मुरली मनोहर गाइए रे माही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे मुरली मनोहर गाइए रे माही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे गिरिधारी गिरिधारी गाइए रे मही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे गिरिधारी गिरिधारी गाइए रे मही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे गिरिधारी गिरिधारी गाइए रे माही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे गिरिधारी गिरिधारी गाइए रे माही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे मुरली मनोहर गाइए रे माही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे मुरली मनोहर गाइए रे माही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे मुरली मनोहर गाइए रे माही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे मुरली मनोहर गाइए रे माही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे गिरिधारी गिरिधारी गाइए रे माही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे गिरिधारी गिरिधारी गाइए रे माही मीरा गिरिधारी गिरिधारी गाइए रे, माही मीरा के नाथ प्रभु गाइए रे। गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे, भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे। गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे, भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए रे। गोविंद गोविंद गाइए रे, भजो राधे गोपाल कृष्ण गाइए। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। हरे हरे बोल, 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 हरे हरे बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। शिव शिव बोल, शिव शिव बोल, शिव शिव बोल, शिव शिव बोल, शिव शिव बोल। माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। राम राम बोल, राधे श्याम बोल, राम राम बोल, राधे श्याम बोल। कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल, राधे कृष्ण बोल, कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल, राधे कृष्ण बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। राम राम बोल, राधे श्याम बोल, राम राम बोल, राधे श्याम बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल, केशव माधव हरे हरे बोल। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
Welcome to Satsang. We'll start as always with a question that's come in advance and then open it up to any questions that anyone here may have. How does a common person think about spirituality? Tragically, spirituality is something that has been made very complex. It's been made to seem as though if you don't take a long course, get a degree, do something that's very, very time-intensive, labor-intensive, that somehow you can't be spiritual. But spirituality literally means of the spirit, pertaining to spirit. And what spirituality is simply a commitment to living our lives, seeing spirit rather than focusing on matter. So there's two ways to see this world. One way is what we call the material way, which says, I'm this body. I'm over here, there's this empty space, you're there, empty space, you're there, empty space, you're there, like that. Now, we have bodies, so seeing the world spiritually doesn't mean that we ignore the body or deny the body. It's just a shift of focus. And so the spiritual way says, I'm spirit. You're spirit. That spirit that flows through me is the same as that which flows through you. And so there isn't actually a place where I end and you begin. And that ultimately is all that spirituality is. Learning lots of really complicated and sophisticated terms is wonderful, because it gives us a nice avenue to discuss them. So as you learn different Sanskrit words, we start to ask, okay, well, what does that mean? Then we start to be able to talk about them. Taking classes and courses is wonderful. You keep learning things. But none of that is required to be spiritual. To be spiritual is simply a decision that I am going to focus on spirit rather than matter. And again, I don't deny the matter. I take care of it. I love it. I feed it. I do whatever I can to, whether it's the matter of my body, the matter of your body, whatever it may be, we appreciate it. All of that in the creation, this beautiful world we live in, we love it, we appreciate it, but we don't identify as it. And we don't use it as our way of understanding the world. So I don't understand the world based on my body. I don't understand it based on this space between you and me as though we were somehow different. My understanding of the world becomes an understanding of spirit. And so when you think about who are you? Who are other people? What's your role in the world? What's your relationship with the world? Why are you here? Instead of having answers pertaining to matter, who I am is this tall, I weigh this much, here's my history. Who I am is the relationship with you, who's that tall, you weigh this much, here's your history. Together we own this thing and that thing, or we've created this other being. Instead of all of those aspects of matter, of form, being what I think about and how I identify, it's spirit, consciousness. And that's what's in you as well. And that's all saying you're spiritual means, is I've made a concerted, conscious decision that I'm going to move through the world focused on spirit. So when someone says, "Who are you?" I'm going to first think about spirit, soul, consciousness, love, rather than the degree I have or how much money I have or the relationships I have. When I meet someone, instead of focusing on what they look like, instead of focusing on the form, the matter, I'm going to try to focus on spirit. I'm going to focus on soul, consciousness. I'm going to try to interact with the world, whether it's another human being, whether it's a tree, whether it's a sunset, whatever it may be, any aspect of this creation. I'm going to interact with it, spirit to spirit, rather than object to object. And literally that is all spirituality has to mean. You want to learn the Sanskrit words? Fantastic. As I said, they're doorways. So you learn the word gyan, wisdom. Wonderful. That's a great doorway, because when you learn that word, then suddenly, depending on the context you learn it in, it brings up so many opportunities for you to acquire gyan. You learn the word yog. Ah, great. So through learning the word yog, we learn the benefits of practicing yog. Maybe tomorrow you'll start practicing. We learn the word dharma, or karma, or dhyan. Through learning these words, we're learning concepts that are very, very relevant to our life. So it's great to learn the words. It's great to study the scriptures of any religion, depending on whatever religion you are. But don't confuse study or knowledge or facts or language for spirituality. You can be spiritual without knowing a word of any of this. You could be spiritual without having read the books. As long as your life is committed to moving through the world as spirit and interacting with the world as spirit. The rest is a bonus. The rest is the path of understanding, the path of wisdom, the path of ecstasy, right? So if we want to hit samadhi, well, there's 8 limbs of yoga to go through. So all of the other things that we want on our spiritual path, it's what we need all of these other concepts and practices and wisdom for. But to simply be spiritual, we don't actually need it. To simply be spiritual, we simply need to commit ourselves to that focus. And so that's whether you are a common man or an uncommon person. Either way, that's all we need to do. I'm happy, before taking any of the other questions in advance, to open it up to any questions that are here. Yes?
I am blessed to be soon receiving my Guru Mantra, and I'm just wondering, is there something that I need to do to prepare or something I need to learn?
Great. Well, first of all, congratulations. He said he's about to be receiving his Guru Mantra. We've spoken over the last several days about the importance of mantras and the benefit of mantras and the benefit of a Guru Mantra, a mantra given by the Guru. So first of all, congratulations. In terms of preparation for it, the clearer and the emptier you are inside, the more space there will be in you for that mantra to come. For any initiation, whether it's what we call Guru Diksha, so Diksha means initiation, and so whether it's the initiation into the mantra, whether it's the initiation into renunciation, sannyas, whatever form of initiation we're talking about, the more space that we can create, the more that grace is going to flow into us. I'll share, though, with you one of my favorite stories, true story, my story. Because a lot of times when we think of the rites of initiation, we think of it as very, very esoteric. So whether it's getting the mantra from the guru, whether it's taking sannyas, whether it's any rite of initiation, a lot of us take it as though it must be something very, very esoteric. And it's beautiful and it's divine and amazing, and it's been such a blessing and gift in my life. But the story is a personal one of actually how it's all really about simply purity of mind, simply creating space through surrender, and simply about devotion. So when I was going to be initiated into sannyas, when I was going to take the renunciation, the initiation into this form of renunciation, what we call sannyas, becoming a nun in my case, a monk in the case of a man. My sannyas initiation was done by Puja Swamiji, my guru, and another very, very revered saint from Mathura, Puja Swami Guru Sharananji Maharaj. And Puja Swami Guru Sharananji Maharaj has initiated probably hundreds of sannyasis. You could say it's what he does, is where so many of the different gurus have different focuses, and Puja Swamiji is so focused on serving humanity. And so many different programs and projects and things for that, whether it's bringing water, whether it's bringing education, whether it's bringing toilets and sanitation, or planting trees, or climate change, or whatever it may be. That's really what his life is dedicated to. So Swami Guru Sharananji Maharaj is really dedicated to propagating and disseminating the Dharma through initiating people into sannyas. And so he has initiated hundreds. And so when a couple of weeks before the initiation, I went to Puja Swamiji and said, very much like what you've asked me, which is, so what exactly do I need to do to prepare? And he said, you should go and talk with Swami Guru Sharananji Maharaj. Which was interesting and so sweet because of course he knew what to tell me, but sent me off to Maharaji, and I had this beautiful blessing of going and meeting with Swami Guru Sharananji and saying, okay, so what should I do? But it's important for the story to understand that where Puja Swamiji is very flexible in a lot of ways, very spirit of the law rather than letter of the law in a lot of ways. Swami Guru Sharananji Maharaj is very divinely traditional in really just a beautiful, beautiful, amazing way. And it's spirit of the law and it's letter of the law. And there's so many different ways of living and ways of being that are the right way. And he's very, very pakka, very sure about the right way of doing things. And that's an important foundation for this. So I go to see him and I say, so what should I do? I'm 2 weeks before this initiation ceremony that you're going to come and bless me with. And I said, what should I do? So he says, well, first of all, for the 10 days prior to this ritual, you should observe fast. You should just have fruits and some milk if you're very hungry, and otherwise you should not eat anything else. And he said, and you should mostly stay in your room all day, doing your japa, your chanting of your mantra, and your meditation, and you really shouldn't come to the office very much unless it's, And he said, and you should observe silence. I said, okay. He said, now repeat after me. Tell me what I've just told you. And I smiled because I'm an academic. Like I was a straight A student. I could remember 3 things. And so I just thought it was okay. It was very cute that he wanted me to repeat them after him. And so I said, well, first of all, okay, I will stay in my room and do my japa, do my chanting, do my meditation, and I won't come to the office. And he interrupts me before I even finish, and he says, unless Swamiji has any seva for you to do, at which point you will come down immediately into the office and do it. And I said, okay. And I said, and I will observe silence. And he says, unless Swamiji asks anything of you, at which point you will immediately speak and not make him go through the drama of trying to figure out what you are trying to say with hand motions and signals, and you will not waste 1 second of his time. You will speak. And I said, okay. I said, and I will observe fast. And before I even could say about the milk and the fruits, he says, unless in fasting you do not have the strength to do the seva that you are supposed to be doing, at which point you will have a full meal immediately. And the reason that I love this story and this teaching so much, and the reason that I give you the background about Puja Swami Guru Sharananji Maharaj, is because from Puja Swamiji that it wouldn't be such a story. Because he's so much more focused on spirit of law than letter of the law, that it wouldn't surprise any of us if you were fasting but you were not feeling, so strong, and so, yeah, of course, eat so you can do your seva. But because Swami Guru Sharananji Maharaj is so particular, and so pakka, we say in Hindi, so strict about absolutely, not just spirit, but letter, absolutely the right way, absolutely the norms, absolutely the niyams. Here is how it is supposed to be. For him to say this was revolutionary. Because what it made me realize is, even in these pakka, stringent, strict niyams that were given, rules that were given, practices that were given, ultimately it's all for one purpose and one purpose only, which is to be fully surrendered and to be a tool in the hands of the divine, which, depending on your situation, is going to come to you directly from the divine, or it's going to come through your guru. But ultimately, that's the point. And there's no practice of silence, of japa, of fasting that is more powerful or more beneficial or is going to get you any farther on your path than being there for exactly what your guru tells you to do, exactly when your guru tells you to do it, exactly the way your guru tells you to do it, with that full surrender. And so I love that story for so many reasons. And as you are preparing for the initiation into the mantra, the initiation into that sacred sound, allow yourself to clear as much space as you can. And it also might be interesting for you just to notice what the sound in your own mind is these days. Because once you get the mantra, the sound in your mind should become the mantra, right? I mean, you should be chanting the mantra all the time. And so it's always interesting in retrospect to be able to look back and to realize, oh my God, my mind was such a mess. Oh my God, it was here, it was there. This is what used to occupy my mind. So pay attention also just for that fun of it. And then just allow and surrender and allow and surrender. And it'll be beautiful. And congratulations again. Yes.
Question by Ajay Chaudhary. Why there are so many obstacles in life?
Why are there so many obstacles in life? Well, the first piece of this is, in whose book is something an obstacle? Something comes on our path. And there's a lot of ways to look at it. One way is an obstacle. I want to go there. This thing is on my path. This is an obstacle. Another way to look at it is something that has been given to you on the path to make you stronger as you walk it. So you're still clear, this is my path. Okay, instead of just a simple walk along my path, now I have this great big boulder that I get to learn how to walk over. That's going to increase my strength. It's going to give me some extra muscles. It'll increase my balance. It'll increase my nimbleness, because to crawl over the boulder and get down is going to require a little bit more flexibility and nimbleness and strength than simply walking on the path. Another way to look at it is, thank God this came, because I was going so fast down the wrong path that if this thing hadn't fallen off the mountain right into the road and I weren't stopped, I would have continued all the way down the wrong path. Thank God this boulder fell on my road so that I actually had to stop and take a moment. And in that moment, I realized I was going the wrong way. Mahatma Gandhi said so beautifully, what's the point of going so fast when you're going in the wrong direction? And so sometimes the obstacles on our path are actually there, not just to drive us crazy going in the same way we were going, but actually to give us a message and say, hey, wait, maybe that's not the way to go after all. Maybe this enormous, insurmountable boulder that has just fallen on your path is actually God's way of saying, don't go there. And we don't always listen. I'll tell you another personal story on this. So, I love to hike. I love to be in the mountains, but I especially love to actually hike and backpack. And I used to do a lot of backpacking and a lot of trekking. And we had gone to Gangotri, the source of Mother Ganga, the temple at the source of Mother Ganga. And we had done this beautiful trek out to Gomukh, which is the actual source, the glacier source. And it was a beautiful, beautiful trip that we had done. A couple of years later, we were going up to Gangotri for an event, a program, and for also some projects that we were instituting there. And there was not a plan this time to go out to Gomok. But I had set my mind, I'm going to go. Puja Swamiji had said, don't go, there's no need to go. Stay, we've got all of this work that we're doing in Gangotri for a clean green program in Gangotri and work that we were doing there to help clean it, beautify it, etc. He said, you can go out to Gomok another time, this time, stay. But I was stubborn. So I said, no, I'm going to go. He said, okay. Because he's that type of guru. Okay. So we get up to Gangotri. And the next morning, and I'm excited, I'm going to go. And I had convinced a couple of other people in the group to come with me. I open up my bag that has my hiking boots in it. And the rubber soles have literally melted off my hiking boots. Just crumbled, melted, crumbled. I mean, I had never seen anything like this before. Obviously couldn't wear them. I then decide, I'll do it in my chappals. I'll do it in my slippers. Now, it's 18 kilometers each way over an uneven, rocky path. Guru says, don't go. The universe melts my hiking boots. I mean, the obstacle right there, right? I don't have any shoes. I'm in a place that they don't sell shoes. All I've got are my slip-on sandals. But I was stubborn. I'm heading in that path. I'm going. It doesn't matter what the obstacles are. I will. So I do it. Go out in my sandals. Trek was fine. Trek was great. 2 days later, I was flat on my back for the next 6 weeks. I had damaged something in my back so badly through the very, very long, uneven trek in sandals that gave absolutely no support to the ankles, the feet. I had just thrown out something in my back so badly that I had to postpone a trip abroad and literally needed help getting to the bathroom. Like I couldn't sit down or stand up at all 6 weeks. So I share the story because a lot of times we don't necessarily see obstacles that come as a message. And interestingly, sometimes the message is not, it's the wrong way. In my case, it was. In my case, clearly the message was, stay put. But obstacles are always a message. Sometimes it's a message, change path. Sometimes it's simply a message to be more resolved. Sometimes it's a message that the universe realizes you need something. Whatever this obstacle is, you are going to gain something from it that you otherwise wouldn't gain, that you need on your path. But every single one of these is a very important purpose, whether it's to strengthen us, whether it's to stop us so that we can find the right path. They're not there for the universe just to drive us crazy. So when you're walking on your path and you have an obstacle, the question becomes, is this obstacle here because the path is wrong? Or is the obstacle here to strengthen me? And there's no cookie cutter answer to that. You've got to go within and ask yourself. Typically in life, if we are moving with our dharma, it's much more like rowing a boat downstream than rowing a boat upstream. Typically, if we are constantly rowing a boat upstream and getting nowhere, it's an important lesson that maybe our boat is facing in the wrong direction. But now that doesn't mean that following your dharma means that everything is easy. Doesn't mean everything goes your way. Doesn't mean the universe always cooperates. Doesn't mean you don't get a flat tire. Doesn't mean that there aren't rapids along the way. But it just means that in general, you feel much more like you are in the flow of the universe rather than against the flow of the universe. And here's where the way to know is what part of me is pushing me? If there's an obstacle, or I feel like I'm rowing my boat upstream, question is, what part of me is rowing? Is it my ego? Is it my ego that says, gotta do it, gotta do it, gotta do it? When I was 20 years old, I had hiked up the Grand Canyon in sandals. Hiked down in hiking boots. I had gotten very bad blisters and couldn't put my hiking boots back on, had hiked back up in sandals. I was 20. When I hiked out to Gomok in sandals, I was 40-something. But my ego was so stuck with, I'm still 20, I can do it, that it was a pull of the ego. It was not, and if I had been honest and looked within, I would have known that. It was not that spiritual pull of supposed to do this. It was my ego saying, gotta do it, gotta do it, gotta do it. I'm a trekker. I can do anything. This is ego. And so is it the ego saying, I'm supposed to be the president of this company, I'm supposed to be the CEO, I'm supposed to be a millionaire, I'm supposed to be this, I'm supposed to be that, I'm supposed to have this? That's the ego driving us. But when you're quiet, you can actually feel the difference inside between when the ego drives us and when we're pulled by the divine flow of life. One of them is a constriction. We become constricted. Our vision becomes very, very narrow. One of them is an expansion. And so when you feel like, gotta do it, but there's this obstacle, but it's just an obstacle and I hate it and get it out of my path, I'm supposed to walk that way. Take a moment and check in. What part of you is pushing? And the other question, of course, is, and what exactly is wrong with where you are right now? If that obstacle, if that boulder on your path were dropped there, such that you couldn't actually move, what exactly is wrong with where you are? What part of you says, gotta keep moving on this path, gotta keep moving on this path? And that's a really important inner question. Because ultimately, from the spiritual perspective, where you are right now, right here, is exactly perfect and exactly right. And so why the hang-up about where you think you've got to go? Maybe right now, you're supposed to just be right here. And so obstacles on our path give us a beautiful opportunity for introspection. And whether we continue on the course with a renewed resolve, because we know it is the flow of the universe, whether we change course, or whether we decide to simply sit down and meditate for a while, right here, right now. all of them are great outcomes. And the obstacles provided it. The obstacles given us the opportunity to stop and look. I can't tell you how many people in the world I know who have had horrible illnesses, terminal, non-terminal, but maybe they thought it was terminal, who have actually said, I'm so glad I had that. Wouldn't wish it on anyone I love, but in retrospect, I'm so glad that I had that. Because what it did was, it actually forced me to slow down and to reevaluate and to relook at actually what was most important, actually what path I was on, actually where I was running. There's nothing like a terminal illness or having a loved one have a terminal illness to suddenly make what's really important very clear. Suddenly all of that which is not important just disappears immediately. And so sometimes obstacles are there because what the universe really wants from us is to understand what's important. And if that obstacle is going to make that happen, then so be it. So we should never feel punished or harassed by the universe or chosen against or somehow as though the universe is against us. We should always look at our obstacles and first of all say thanks for the opportunity and understand why it might be given to us and what we're supposed to learn from it and how we're supposed to grow from it. Otherwise, what you find is you keep having the same obstacles in this life, over lifetimes. We keep having the same pattern, same type of obstacles keep coming up until we understand the message. Yes.
Actually, it is a career-based question. When you have different dreams and have a different passion, like dream is different, childhood dream is different, and your passion is art. So how to follow that?
Wonderful. So the passion is art, and what's the childhood dream? Defense. Fantastic. Fantastic. So here's the beautiful thing about art. You don't actually have to get paid for it in order to create it. No matter what you do in life, you can create art. You can be an artist and the Government of India Defense Minister. Why not? In fact, it would be fantastic. I mean, I would love to know that our defense minister also painted or sculpted or wrote poetry. How beautiful that would be. Art, music, writing, all of these things in that field are gifts. And those of us who have a gift know something very important, which I'm going to share with you. When you don't use your gift, you suffer. Now, fortunately, you're young enough that I hope you haven't suffered yet. But in your life, if you have a gift to create art and you don't create art, you will suffer. At some point in your life, when you find yourself suffering from inexplicable depression, everything is going great. You're the Defense Minister of India. You've got a great family, you've got a great job, everything is perfect, and for some reason you are depressed and you have no idea why. Ask yourself when the last time you created art was. And chances are that will be the reason. Gifts that are given to us by the universe are given to us because they need to be expressed. And so whether it's painting, sculpting, drawing, writing, singing, music, playing music, writing music, singing music, whatever it may be, do it. But here's the other thing about art. It doesn't care if you pay it for it. It has no attachment whatsoever to being paid for its efforts. The production of art is actually its own reward. The act of painting, drawing, singing, writing is its own reward. And the problem comes when we start to think that just because it's my passion, it should also be my career. And this is where you get stuck. Because it's very difficult to actually support yourself financially as an artist. If you go into most of the restaurants in Los Angeles, New York, and you say to the waiter or the waitress, "So what are you really?" What you'll hear is, "Well, really, I'm a singer, but I'm waiting tables until I get the gig that's going to help me support myself." Or, "I'm actually really a screenwriter, but I'm waiting tables until somebody buys a manuscript that I write." Or they're all artists, but artists who are unable to support themselves in their art, but not wanting to give up the hope that they're going to be able to support themselves in their art. And so they're waiting tables in restaurants. There's nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely one way to do it. But if you've got a childhood dream to be in defense, then you've got a fabulous way to do it, which is be an artist. But don't decide that that art has to get money for you, that that has to be your career. Follow your childhood dream for defense. Go to school for that. Take the exams for that. Follow that path. And keep creating art. You'll be a wonderful, wonderful asset to this nation and to the world. So, regardless of what that dream is, and this is true for all artists, if it's very important to you, if you've made your mind up that you've got to make this your career, and you want to wait tables in the meantime, by all means do that. But if you're not so interested in waiting tables, and there's actually something else that seems like a nicer way to make a living, and you've got other skills that you could use, and you're okay letting go of the idea temporarily, even who knows what the universe will bring, that you're actually going to become an artist who makes their living doing art, then that's wonderful. Because art just wants to be expressed. Doesn't need to be paid for. So have a career, have a passion, have more than one passion, have hobbies. That's fantastic. But don't think that just because something's a hobby, that you should stop being the defense minister if you're loving it, and that you have to make that your career. This is how you can create a very full life for yourself.
When your parent forced you to go towards your passion, then
when your parents force you to move towards your passion, towards art? Well, first of all, to have parents who push you toward your passion, consider yourself really blessed. I mean, yeah, a round of applause for her parents. That's very unusual. It's always the opposite. I've got a passion, but my parents have decided that I have to be an engineer. If your parents are pushing you towards your passion, thank them. Tell them that's wonderful. And let them help you find ways to create art. And have them help you do what you need to do to go into defense. Because you can do both, as we've just discussed. But thank them for having the love and the support to hold that passion of yours. And help them understand that your dream is to do defense. I'm sure they'll support that too. Supportive people. Yeah, really. To have parents who push you toward a passion of art is a great blessing. So feel very thankful. Wonderful. Are you going to be here tomorrow? Wonderful. तो कल आपके साथ शुरू करेंगे फिर. We'll start with your question tomorrow. Have a beautiful rest of your evening, and we'll see you all tomorrow.